Welcome back to my breakdowns on Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, the breakdown stroke review, and we're on episode 9, so let's jump straight into it. So first of all, we're still on Earth. I generally kind of like this because, you know, they could be flying around on different planets, but they're mainly on Earth, and Billy is being caught up on everything that's happened with Zato, and Zato turns around and says, look, I'm going to do what's best for the team. That's my main focus right now. So I'll use my powers, I'll do whatever I can, but Lord Zed needs to be defeated, and we're going to focus mainly on this. And I generally kind of like this because, you know, I know that Zato could have gone like, here's all my power, and just, you know, pieced out and gone, see you later type thing. But he was like, no, I'm going to stick about. I'm going to help my team because this is the most important thing right now, is defeating Lord Zed. He's doing the best for his team. Then all of a sudden we get a call from, you know, out of space. Who could it be? It's going to be Lord Zed, isn't it? It's always going to be Lord Zed. So Lord Zed contacts the Rangers. And, you know, he's saying like, oh, your plan didn't work. Here's Mucus, here is Slifer, they've been captured. That's it. And then all of a sudden, Bejilia is there, you know, and, you know, she's like, you know, I grew from a slither. Because they're like, how the hell did you get there? She's like, I regrew myself in time. So it's kind of interesting how she got back up to the ship, up to the Squidrill, then flew all the way back to Lord Zed and actually grew. Like, how long did it take? Was it a long time? You know, it's kind of a weird thing that I like, but it's just that, oh, I regrew. Okay, awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. So as Lord Zed is going through his plan, he says, like, you can see that Ollie didn't turn good. And it's just like, oh my God, like the plan failed. Because they were like, oh my God, we think that would have worked. Like destroying the statue would have like freed him from being evil. Ollie then breaks character and tells the Rangers all of what Lord Zed's plan is, that he is going to absorb all the Morphing Master energy and become the Morphing Master, which again I generally really liked, and I kind of wish this plan happened slightly earlier, but we'll talk about that when it comes up to my next review. But yeah, like everything goes crazy, the communications get cut off completely. So what happens? Like, you know, are they going to kill Ollie? Are they going to destroy him, or what? You know, this is a race against time now. And everyone's just like, oh my God, like we can't let Lord Zed become a Morphing Master. They start asking questions of like, if Lord Zed becomes a Morphing Master, could he destroy the grid? And the simple answer is no, he can't destroy the grid, only because the grid is energy and stuff like that. Nothing can kind of affect it, but he could cut off the powers to all the Rangers. And I feel like if this plan had happened a lot earlier, you could have had like a time skip of like a few years and shown what happened to the Rangers as they don't have their powers and kind of build up. I think this would have been a really kind of cool thing to do, but again, we won't see this at all, but I generally kind of really like that storyline. So the Rangers come up with a plan on going to Eltar, and Billy, for some strange reason, like he wants to be really cautious, and that I absolutely get. But to me, I would be more like, we need to go stop Lord Zed, because if he becomes a Morphing Master, he could take all their powers and no Ranger would be able to fight, which then gives everyone at a massive disadvantage. It's not like Lord Zed's going to wait around for a couple of weeks or months, you know, as the forces are going to die down. No, they're going to keep pumping out the forces, and they don't know what else is going on. But effectively, Billy's just like, yeah, give us a bit and then we'll fly off. But we know that there's unlimited resources, so you would have way too many kind of Sentinels, copy guards, everything. So Billy kind of saying like, yeah, wait, and then we can bring more Rangers in. To me, just felt like Billy kind of backing away and not wanting to go to Eltar because that's where Zordon is, and we know Billy's connection with Zordon. So for me, like that, I generally was just like, come on, Billy, be a bit better, help the Rangers. You know, maybe you could get, say, like the rest of the Mighty Morphing Rangers to come and help you, even though the Sentinels are just going to kind of wander about and do nothing. Like we've seen, like, yeah, they put them in prison, but effectively there's nothing much there that the Mighty Morphing Rangers could do, or any other Rangers. You think that you'd all want to go there because Lord Zed's got a master plan, which again would not work. It's just very frustrating, and this is something that I haven't written down, but it's just my kind of general thoughts on this. So with this, Billy says, look, you can go on your own, but there's not going to be anything that we can do. I've got to stay behind with my team. But like my old mentor Zordon said, may the power protect you. Now, this is something that you need to keep in the back of your mind, because this does come up very, very soon, and it's a very important thing. The Rangers arrive on Eltar after a while, and as they enter the atmosphere, Inksworth just grows up and he becomes a giant monster. Now, as much as I like this and his English accent, I generally think that he should have just been a normal monster fighting, because you don't really see him that much, and the small amount of time, it just feels weird that he is now a monster and he is fighting the Rangers. If he had fought the Rangers maybe once or twice, wholeheartedly could understand this. But for me personally, I just feel like this is a really weird thing just to put more Zord footage in, so they can be like, oh look, we're gonna do this, which then brings up the Ultra Zord. And again, I feel like I generally think the Zords need to be kind of given on this one. It just feels weird of like, quickly, let's combine the Megazords together and make the Ultra Zord and do this and do that. When I'm just like, really? It just feels really weird. Now, I think my favorite line in this fight is when Inksworth goes, when everyone asks you who destroyed you, say the butler did it. I loved that line. I was just like, no, I can understand this completely. And I love it. I just think it's a really kind of play on words, saying like, oh, like, from Murder Mysteries back then, oh, it was always the butler that did this. So perfectly loved it. I just feel like the fight was a little bit kind of weird, and most of this is just kind of really rushed. I would have much preferred having a longer fight sequence with Sentinels rather than just saying, we've got to show a Megazord footage because we've got like 10, 20 seconds, maybe a minute to show this off. To me, maybe I just don't like the Megazord fights in Cosmic Fury as much as I thought I would. But yeah, this one just felt to me like, no, just definitely not. The Rangers obviously defeat Inksworth and then go straight into the base. While this is happening, Ollie is having a heart-to-heart with Slifer as well as Mucus, and Mucus has to remind that Slifer that they're good guys. So whatever kind of like bad thing that obviously Slifer says, he has to say, oh no, you've got some good meat inside your head. It's that heart-to-heart when Ollie's like going like, what will Amelia think of me? What will she think of what we've done? Like, she must think that I'm a monster. But it's like, no, you've been controlled. You've been controlled a lot over this. So it's not going to affect you that much. They will understand. And I think one of the best things in this episode is the entire corridor scene, because it feels just then like it was put in, it worked. It's like, we've got to get to Ollie. Ollie is our main priority. We have to see him. And I think that's what I generally really liked. And yeah, it looked really cool with the different camera angles. So the Rangers actually find Ollie, they free Ollie, and they start having a conversation saying like, this is what Lord Zed's going to do. He's going to do this. He's going to turn into a morphing master. We have to quickly defeat him. And with that, as soon as the Rangers turn around and said like, let's go, they freed everyone. The doors close and Bajilia pops up on screen and says, hey, I'm going to kill you by blowing up this building. You won't survive this. You have 20 seconds to do this. And in that kind of short amount of time, Zato turns to Ion and the rest of the team and says, I have to do this. I have to protect you guys one last time or something. And then as the explosion is about to go up, he puts up a shield around each other. Now, in the visual effects of this, it's oh my god type stuff. But I generally look at this and go, okay, well, the blast seems to be coming from one area, so it should have been coming around, so you could easily maneuver away from this fire that's attacking them. I would have liked to have seen more stuff going around, attacking all sides of the shield. But with this, as soon as the blast finishes, Zato has used up all his magic, and everyone is like, oh my god, no, as the grid opens and starts pulling him back. Because of the strong connection with Ion and Zato, he hugs onto the spirit of Zato that returns back to the morphing grid. Now, when I saw this, it's kind of weird the way that they've done it with Zato. I thought that Zato's body would go into it. It looks like it just separates the spirit, which you kind of think that maybe the body would have gone up rather than just the spirit, which would have made sense from a visual point of reference. So Ion's hold on to him. his mind and his spirit goes off with Zato into the grid, and that's all you see. You just see Ion just lying there. He's actually asleep or knocked down. Everyone now has returned to the ship. They are talking about a plan, and Ollie says if Zed becomes a morphing master, he's going to be 100 times stronger than the Nemesis beast. And I was just like, damn, like, and that's not even in a giant form, that's condensed down, which would be a lot stronger, and kind of cool to see like him wail on the Rangers once again, because we know Zed's strong automatically. Ollie gets an idea of combining the weapons to make a final thing, which again is something that I don't think we've seen for a very long time. So coming up with that idea, I really liked. So we then jump to possibly, which I think is the best scene in all of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, as well as maybe the rest of the franchise that we've seen for a while. Like, you know, it's definitely up there. Lord Zed is absorbing the energy from the Master Captivator. I'm glad I remembered that name. From the Master Captivator into the chair. The Rangers literally teleport down, and you know, Zed's like, damn, I'm impressed that you survived that blast. I did not think. Izzy is turning around, kind of giving a play on everything with not looking, going, oh, he sat in a chair, the energy's going in, he looked ugly as hell. And obviously she's like, right, got that straight away. And Zed is like, well, guess what? You know, I can see that you survived, but looks like some other people didn't. And Ollie there doesn't have his power. But what happens? Ollie literally goes, are you sure about that? Which then just constantly reminds me of that TikTok guy.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why?
Or that clip that's been used on TikTok. But with this, the energy has gone straight into Lord Zed, and Lord Zed transforms into a brand new version of himself. Now, I am so glad that they didn't use that one from, is it Q Ranger or Kira Major? We saw like his brains and stuff. This is the picture that I'm talking about. I am so glad that they didn't even bother using that, because to me, I would have just gone, oh, well, that's a bit shit. Like, why the fuck are you going to do that? Like, I really like this new version of Zed, and it's a shame that this is probably the only time in the next episode that we're going to see this version. And I kind of wish that maybe they just made slight changes, not have an entire new suit effectively. But I think one of the funniest lines in the franchise, apart from the Space Wizard with staffs, is the fact that Zed, now called Master Zed, actually carves or shoots a beam and writes Z on the wall, or on this like stone wall type thing, or the mountainside. And everyone goes, why have you done an N? And I was just like, oh darn, like, you know, he's like, it's not an N, it's a Z. And they're like, no, it's definitely an N. And he's like, well, I don't care anyway. But I just love this little banter that we get with them. It feels like it's a warranted thing for a final battle, at least. This is the part where Zed says Ollie can't morph, and that's when you hear it. So it's fine. It's fine on that one. The Rangers then call their weapons and they combine them, which again is a really nice thing. I kind of wish that maybe we had this a little bit more, but obviously it's near the end of the series, so you pull out the big guns, don't you? The hence thing. So this is the Cosmic Fury Blaster, or the Cosmic Blaster. I generally like the name, but I do kind of wish, again, like we saw this earlier, they fire it at Zed. They fire it straight at him, but it doesn't work, and he just literally nullifies it, and he's like, oh, well, this present you give me must be returned. He attacks the Rangers, knocking them down, and this is when Harvey goes, right, we need to call in the Zords. And I think Lord Zed has such good fun right here, where he just literally takes out every Zord in one hit. You know, it's not just a, oh, I'm sending you away, it's I'm totally destroying all your Zords. And also, I love the fact that he goes, oh, if Dark Spectre could see me now. I really liked that they put this in and then reference back to it. But Zed destroying the Zords in one shot each time, like, pow, you're gone, pow, you're gone, pow, you're gone. I was just like, damn, like, how are they going to get around this? They can't be recalled. They are destroyed. And I bet Lord Zed again was like, damn, this felt really, really good. Everyone but Ollie and Amelia are attacking Lord Zed or dodging Zed's attacks. And obviously it's not working whatsoever. Ollie and Amelia are trying to think of a plan, going, right, we can't use the Cosmic Blaster, we can't call in the Zords, how can we do it? And then all of a sudden they get the idea of using the Master Captivator, which would work because now Zed is a morphing master, the ultimate morphing master at least. But as they are about to kind of go grab it, because there are two Sentinels right there, Scrozzle pops in, as well as Bejilia and the media, and Lord Zed's like, why is the media here? And I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be weird. And then suddenly it's like, oh my god, they're all turning against Zed, and Scrozzle fires at Zed, turns him into energy, and then sticks him in the Master Captivator, while Bejilia gives her speech and everything. The Rangers are kind of worried. We've had them being blasted, and I think, again, this is another line that I like, that the Sentinels pick up the weapon of the Cosmic Blaster, and then the Rangers are like, they can't use that, can they? And Amelia's like, no, they can't. And they do. They blast the Rangers, which causes them to demorph. They gather themselves around. They get surrounded by Sentinels, which again is weird because you think that they could probably morph or fight their way out of it because they're just Sentinels. It's kind of weird that they didn't get out of this plan. And then we have what the whole end of the series is going to be about, the Z wave. Not to be confused by the Zordon wave, which is the Z wave. And I was just like, damn, they've gone really hard on this one. They've really kind of thought about it. I love that they mentioned the Z wave a lot because it's something that was, I think, made by fans, kind of made the name of it. And they've kind of gone with it. So I'm so glad they incorporated it straight away, which to me was fantastic. So the Z wave, what this is going to do is it's going to wipe out all good in the universe. And the idea for Bejilia is that she wants to have her company produce weapons for other people to buy, and thus therefore they could take out other evil bad guys. It becomes like a Wild West type thing. But the fact is that they came up with this idea that one single blast at the Master Captivator will send out a shockwave which will hit the entire universe and get rid of all good. Again, fantastic plan. I would have loved to have seen something, at least maybe the powers of the Rangers be taken away and they can't do anything and maybe the Rangers turn evil. But either way, destroying all evil in the universe would have been fantastic, and I think it would have been a really tense moment that kind of builds up for this. Now, one thing is that when the TV presenter says, oh, so this is like the iconic Z wave, the Zordon's energy wave that went against the Alliance of Evil, and Bajilia's like, no, lies and slander, this is my thing. And I was just like, come on, really, come on. But I can see this as like any corporate thing that would happen, be like, that's our idea, that's not theirs, lies, slander, that's our product, we've put our name on it. But I just went, do you know what? Why? Okay, cool. If this happened, I think it would be a very unique thing to see. And can you imagine if this was the end of Power Rangers? They just wiped out all good in the universe. And it's like, there you go, no more Power Rangers. This then comes the reboot in another dimension. So they start going through the entire plan properly. And the reporter goes to Scrozzle, like, so what happened? And Scrozzle's like, I used the Scrozzle Razzmatazz. And then we freed Zed. We gave him the idea. He then kind of went onto it. He got what he wanted. He was blindsided by the fact that he was going to win. And yeah, that's it. We captured him. Now, so Scrozzle does an impression of Lord Zed. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. But I do generally like the way that the reporter goes, wow, you're really good at doing voices. I was like, yeah, I can see that. Nice little nod right there. And then they start counting down. And again, that's another reference to In Space. So there's quite a few references to In Space on this one. Now, that's the end of the episode. We're now going into the final part of Cosmic Fury. But I think this episode was fantastic. I loved the end part the most. I love the plan. I love the fact that Zed kind of transformed into his new form. He was able to kind of take down the Rangers. I just kind of feel like I would have liked to have seen more of the Rangers trying to fight Zed, and maybe he causes them each to demorph, which would have been even better because obviously he can cut the powers and stuff like that. But I think for majority of the time, him just wailing on the Rangers would have been a lot of fun because every single time they've done it, it works so well. And I would like to know if they decided to do something a little bit different. But either way, I generally really enjoyed it. I love the fact that all the bad guys backstabbed Zed in this one and went, do you know what? We're going to get him. I thought this was fantastic. You know, the Sentinels didn't do really much. The blowing up of the building as well, you know, and them thinking like, oh god, like, you know, the Rangers have all died, but we know that they would have escaped. So I feel like this was a really big part, and I just love seeing all of it. And it got me excited for the next episode because I was in shock of what's going on. Going like, oh my god, I need more, I need more. So we'll talk about that in review number 10. But I am going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. And if you want to help out the channel, hit the like, favorite, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you want to help support even more, check out my Patreon as well as the channel memberships. And with that, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimona Cat, Kira Stanada, Micah Baldwin. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
あらあら、チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとう。チャンネル登録、高評価お願い。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができるよ。